So our third main topic this week, I almost hate to say this, but kind of flew under the radar, which is crazy because this
Shocking
was a
when you use
huge
it.
topic. But ChatGPT's image generation like sucked the oxygen out of the room and kind of overshadowed the fact that Google unveiled Gemini 2.5, which they are calling their quote most intelligent AI model to date. So this first release in this new line is an experimental version called Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental. It is making waves in the AI community because it is topping industry benchmarks with significant margins. So Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental is in a category of models Google calls thinking models. These are AI systems designed to reason through their thoughts before they respond, which results in better performance, better accuracy. This means that they do much more than just classification and prediction. They have the ability to analyze information, draw logical conclusions, incorporate context and nuance, and make informed decisions. So, right now, the new Gemini 2.5 Pro sits at number one on the LM Arena leaderboard, which measures human preferences for AI responses. It shows particularly strong capabilities in reasoning and code generation. It leads in common coding, math, and science benchmarks. And in practical terms, it is demonstrating really impressive reasoning skills across a range of challenging tests. So it's achieved state of the art results on math and science benchmarks. It scored 18.8% on humanities last exam, which we've talked about before, which is a data set designed by hundreds of experts to capture the frontier of human knowledge and reasoning. 18.8% is a very high score so far on that for all the models out there. And it is now available if you want to try it in Google AI Studio and in the Gemini app if you're a Gemini Advanced subscriber. So, Paul, what do we need to pay attention to here? This is clearly a really, really powerful model. Like 4.0, it has multimodal image generation. It has a long context window. So that's a million tokens right now, which is about 750,000 words it can hold in its memory and pay attention to at any given time. Just seems like these models Google is putting out are just getting really, really robust.
Yeah, and this is sort of a preview of the next generation of models. So they're if we go back a year or so, it was text in, text out. So you could put text into your prompt, it could generate text back to you. Now you could do image generation and you could do some reasoning last year and things like that, but they were through separate models. Usually, it wasn't all baked into the same pie, I guess, for lack of a better analogy. And so what's gonna happen now is like Claude 4, GPT-5, Gemini 3, Llama 4, all these next generation models, which I assume we will see all of them this year. Um, they will all be multimodal from the ground up. Right now, that means text and image, and I guess voice, and it'll eventually also include video and audio in there. So you can imagine like Sora from OpenAI being baked right into ChatGPT, or VO2 I mentioned earlier from Google being baked right into Gemini. So you're gonna have these multimodal models that it's able to input and output modalities, multiple modalities, and then you're going to have reasoning on top of it, and then you'll have some sort of classifier that actually knows which function to use for you. So if you go in and you're having a conversation, it knows whether you use reasoning and think more, it knows whether to create an image or a video, and we don't have to pick from our 17 models in the drop down like we've talked about many times. And then the context window, which is where Google has a pretty clear advantage at the moment. um, the reason for a non-developer like you and I, Mike, that's important, the average business user, is imagine it having access to your CRM system or to your Google Drive where all of your knowledge is, all of your documents are. The context window is basically what goes into the prompt, like the back end of the prompt. And what happens is within that window, it dramatically improves accuracy, reliability, reduces hallucinations. So if it can remember that information, those tokens, then it becomes way, way better and more practical for use in businesses. Otherwise, it just kind of forgets things and it can make errors. And so the bigger the context window, the more accurate it becomes. It's why Notebook LM works so well. Like if you build a Notebook LM and you put like 5 PDFs in there and a video script, it basically talks to you based on that context, that those documents you've put into it. And so the bigger that context, and we know Google last year they talked about 10 million tokens being, tested and working.
Yeah.
I think Sundar's been on record as talking about basically infinite tokens. So the goal is to be able to stuff as much information as you want into this system, and it's like insanely accurate with what it outputs and recommends to you and the decisions it makes. So context window matters a lot to the average user. It's just sort of an abstract concept.
Yeah, and I wonder too with I mean, 750,000 words already is an insane amount, and with higher limits, you have to think, I mean, that could comprise every document your company has created if you're a relatively small company, I
Totally.
would say,
I mean,
right?
like an average business book's like 50,000 words.
Right.
So do the math. I mean, it's a lot of books. It's a lot of content, just at the million tokens. So yeah, and again, they can do multimodal. So you can put video and you
Yep.
can put different kinds of documents. So yeah, it's hard to comprehend.